All right. Looks like we've got about a good dozen people. So we'll go ahead and get started and see where we go. So um, everyone, if you can't see my slides, please put it in the chat. And I think we're okay. So my name is Zach Anderson. I'm the client engagement lead here at SafeAbroad. We've got a handful of other folks on the team, and I'll let them introduce themselves because they've got very specific parts that they'll be presenting as well. So they can go ahead and introduce themselves when they do that. We have a pretty full briefing today about recent incidents and then also the month ahead. And to kind of give you some more a look ahead of reports that we have coming out. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with recent incidents.
Alrighty. So on June 10th in Austria, a 21-year-old suspect opened fire at a school in Graz. 11 people were killed and 28 were injured. The gunman was a former student at the school. There is still no clear motive established as to why this shooting happened, but heightened security remained around the area for the duration of the investigation, of course. So travelers were advised to avoid the area surrounding the school so as not to interfere with any security operations. And yeah.
Okay, so on June 13th, Tropical Storm Wutip had made landfall in the Henan province in China, disrupting services and causing delays to air travel. Tropical Storm Wutip had formed in the South China Sea and brought record-breaking rainfall and flooding to both central Vietnam and southern China. In central Vietnam, flights were canceled at Da Nang airport, about approximately 20 of them, and severe flooding had occurred in Hue, Huang Tri, and Huang Bing provinces, causing the deaths of about 9 people. Significant flight delays were experienced in Guangdong province prior to the landfall of the tropical storm, with about 10,000 people being evacuated out of the province as well. The typhoon was the first to form in the East Sea in June in about 40 years. Travelers at the time were advised to avoid low-lying flood areas and avoid all non-essential travel, as well as to reconfirm any flights that may have been delayed or canceled.
And on June 13th, as I'm sure many are aware, Israel launched preemptive strikes against Iran. And from June 13th through 24th, they traded missile strikes. This caused on June 14th, the Department of State to raise its travel advisory for Israel to level 4, which is do not travel. Many of these missile strikes from Iran to Israel impacted residential and urban areas. The latest reports state that 28 people were killed by missile strikes and more than 3,200 were injured, with at least 13,000 estimated to have been displaced by the conflict. There's been currently a tentative ceasefire in place between the two countries, although diplomatically things are still being arranged to prevent further conflict. Travelers were advised to remain aware of any evacuation and shelter-in-place notices, maintain heightened situational awareness, liaise with any local consulates for more information, and to monitor local news for updates.
All right, then in Jordan on June 16th, in response to the heightened conflict between Iran and Israel, civil defense alarms were activated. So the US Embassy released a security alert due to the activation of these alarms. The embassy also indicated that there may be continued missiles, drones flying over the airspace, which also posed a threat. This was especially important because travelers needed to familiarize themselves with the different alarm tones. The alarm also gives instructions in Arabic, which may be confusing for American travelers. So we advised travelers to try and familiarize themselves to the best of their abilities with the different alarm tones and to seek shelter if the alarms were to sound.
Yeah, so on June 23rd, amid all of this, the conflict between Iran and Israel, the U.S. Embassy in Qatar advised all Americans to shelter in place before an imminent attack on June 23rd. And this, of course, came a day after the June 22nd American airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. So then we knew Iran would respond in the coming days. And early in the day on June 23rd, the United Kingdom and China released similar warnings than the Americans did, and Qatar closed its airspace. We knew the attack was imminent, and SafeAbroad was able to get an advisory out before then. And then Iran launched 14 missiles at Qatar at Al Udeid Air Base. 13 of 14 were intercepted by American Patriot missile batteries. One fell and did not inflict any damage or injuries. Travelers were advised to heed all warnings and seek shelter upon the sounding of air raid sirens, and they were especially advised to avoid all American diplomatic installations and especially Al Udeid Air Base.
A significant travel disruption this July is the Finnair ground staff strike at Helsinki Airport in Finland. Workers already struck today, July 2nd, and additional strikes are still planned for July 4th and July 7th. The action, led by the Finnish Aviation Union, involves baggage handlers, check-in staff, and other ground operation personnel, and it is part of an unresolved dispute with the employer association PALTA. Past strikes in May and June have caused over 270 flight cancellations, and it has impacted thousands of passengers and travelers, and similar disruption is expected this month. Travelers should reconfirm flights, arrive early, and monitor Finnair and airport updates, and should be prepared for any possible rerouting and rebooking of flights.
All right. So tomorrow and Friday in France, air traffic controllers will also be striking nationwide. This is going to cause some pretty major disruptions to flights in and out of France. It's planned by the UNSA Union. So travelers are advised to avoid any non-essential travel if possible, since it will be pretty congested and they'll experience almost certainly delays. And yeah.
So this upcoming week on June 6th and 7th, the 17th BRICS Summit is being held in Rio de Janeiro at the Museum of Modern Art. The summit is going to focus on health, trade, climate change, as well as AI governance and potential increased security cooperation between the BRICS countries. Brazilian authorities have announced that they're planning to deploy increased security personnel to secure the venue and areas around the venue, as well as counter any planned protests. Also, restrictions will be placed on Rio de Janeiro's airspace on the 6th and 7th. SafeAbroad travelers are advised to prepare for road closures, so leave additional time to reach destinations. Expect additional security checkpoints, so ensure that you have proper identification and valid ID on you at all times. And also prepare for limited access to public transport between July 5th and 8th, so from the day before until the day after the summit. Also avoid the area near the Museum of Modern Art as much as possible, just to avoid any protests or demonstrations associated with the summit.
And coming up next Thursday on July 10th, there will be several aviation worker unions in Italy who will go on strike for 24 hours, which will disrupt flights nationwide. It's being simultaneously organized by several different unions who are all seeking better contract conditions and better working conditions for a lot of ground transport and baggage operators. More than 30 domestic flights have already been canceled, and many more are expected to be affected. Although, because Italy has very strict laws about minimal operations that are required to continue even during strikes, it's estimated by the Italian government flagship carrier, which is ITA Airways, that they'll be able to fly 55% of passengers on the day of the strike. So flights will still likely go through. There may just be delays and some cancellations. So Safe Abroad travelers are advised to reconfirm their flights and adjust any travel plans accordingly and avoid any potential strike-related demonstrations that may occur on July 10th and expect associated delays.
Also on July 10th and then into the 11th in Italy, in Rome specifically, the Ukraine Recovery Conference is going to be held. This is a very important conflict or very important conference, and historically important figures such as Ukrainian President Zelensky do attend the conference in an attempt to raise money for Ukraine. It's going to be held at the Roma Convention Center. So travelers should anticipate heightened security and travel delays around the proximity of the event due to its high-profile nature. So just leave with extra time, anticipate road closures, congestion in the proximity of the conference, etc.
So starting this following month in the Singapore region mainly, breakaway airline of Qantas Air Jetstar Asia announced that they're terminating all operations starting July 31st due to financial struggles. They announced this on June 10th, just a few weeks ago, and stated that throughout the next coming weeks until their closure, they are going to reduce their flights and cause cancellations and rebookings. The airline operates between 16 different routes throughout Southeast, Southeast Asia, as well as Australia and other parts of Oceania, which are going to all be affected. Many of the cancellations and rebookings are in progress, but we advise our travelers to contact the relevant airline or airport they are flying out of to confirm their travel routes and make sure their refunds or cancellations have gone through, especially if they've booked through third-party agencies.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, all of you. So just kind of as a recap, we've got a reminder of the global risk intelligence and some of the services that SafeAbroad utilized to partner with our partner institutions, traveler safety and wellness, pre-departure training, things like that, analyst, staff support, site assessments, etc. So please do reach out to myself. You can reach us at contact@safeabroad.org or Zach@safeabroad, ZAC@safeabroad.org as well. We also have a few minutes. I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions anyone may have. The rest of the team, you're welcome to stay on as well or leave. But thank you so much for attending. Appreciate it.